to run an election in a particular unit, it can respond that election. But we, of course, we are not hoping to do that in any of the elective units in the country.
CEO,
all right,
CEO, there are some questions.
Candidates and the clearance of candidates. We have talked of the law and the legality to that extent. Yeah. There are candidates who accuse IEBC of bias in its clearance. I make reference, for example, to Dr. Okoth, who was a presidential candidate in the 2017 election, Okoth Kigame, who intended to vie for this presidential position. Just for purposes of clarity, because they have quite a following, to be fair, and in a liberal democracy as such, why were they disqualified? Is it that they did not meet your requirements, or as they claim, the commission is biased towards them?
Yes, we have, as I said, we operate within the framework of the Constitution and the laws and the regulations. We don't just make decisions. All returning officers, including myself, we follow the law. And there was then the law in place that time was that among the things that a candidate was to provide was supporters lists of 2,000 for a minimum of 24 counties and supported by copies of ID cards. That was the law then. I know the High Court has ruled that IDs are not necessary now. So that is that's now going forward. I believe that then will be.
These are candidates, Chairman, who have paraded what they say was the legal requirement to allow them to be on the ballot.
Yeah,
they read mischief.
Yes, there's no mischief. It was done here in this room where we are transparent. What we did then was ask them to submit to us soft copies of the supporters lists and hard copies of supporters lists with copies of the IDs. And most of them, if you look at the nomination forms, the reasons for rejection are given on the nomination forms. So you must interrogate those nomination forms before you know why they were rejected. But in most cases...
Just for purposes of clarity,
yes,
for the sake of Dr. Okoth, who was a presidential candidate in 2017, why was he disqualified from the 2020?
Yeah, he did not meet the requirements.
Which one?
Which included failure to submit hard copies with copies of the IDs. That was the requirement that time. And if you look at this nomination form, there are also other reasons which were given for his rejection.
But Chairman, now, some of these candidates say that you accorded some candidates more time to get these signatures, given that it was not as elaborate as they would have wanted it to be. Don't they have a right to read?
Okay, let me put it this way.
Yes.
Some of those cases are still in court. I really don't want to discuss them right here in this forum.
Okay. Of course, we're not discussing the details of those cases. Those are cases that will determine the election in 26 days, isn't it?
Yeah, but some have not been concluded. So I don't want to prosecute court cases here.
Okay.
Because as you know,
we are not discussing the details.
Chairman and CEO, I need us to make progress. And of course, Kenyans can join this conversation by tweeting us their questions using the hashtag Chebukati Speaks 2022. Of course, Chebukati Speaks is also inclusive of the CEO here, Marjan Hussein Marjan. And as we exit from this topic, I would want to hear from you, because we're at a time, he is talking of 26 days, too close to the election. But also look at how other candidates have been cleared in this election, including the Nairobi governor candidate, that is Johnson Sakaja, was cleared on 7th of July. It was at the tail end of that window of clearance. How difficult is it, especially for IEBC, to deal with questions of integrity of documentation presented to you at a time that you have no authority to vet documents like what has been presented in this election?
Well, it makes life very difficult for us. For once, for example, we do not have the capabilities of determining whether, for example, a document presented for us is actually legit or not. If, for example, a university degree certificate has been presented to us and there's a letter from a Commission on University Education confirming that that degree is actually okay, we have no base of actually saying that this document is actually not true. And for example, if EACC, for example, were to say that this person should not be cleared, for example, like the documents that they provided to us in terms of listing of people that ought not to have been cleared. But at the same time, the self-declaration forms were actually given to them. It gives us very difficult, it put us in a very difficult position as to which view should we take. The view that they have actually given us in terms of the self-declaration that they have given to the candidates, or the report they have given us. So it puts us at cross purposes, and therefore for us it makes our life very, very difficult. But for us, what is guiding us is the compliance checks that we have provided the returning officers. It's just a matter of ticking box in terms of whether these candidates miss these requirements or not. That is actually what made our life a little bit easier. But you can see now the issues that it has raised. Matters have been taken to court. And when they have been taken to court, we've got very little time for us to print the ballot papers. And therefore, it puts us in a very awkward position in terms of preparation as far as the logistics is concerned.
What do you want to see moving forward to correct all these troubles that you're having?
Maybe I would like to see that we have got the laws provide clarity. For example, in terms of hearing and determining cases after DRC, maybe they should be given time limit within which they should actually hear those cases and determine. Because if today we can still continue hearing cases regarding nominations, and they may have bearing in terms of printing of the ballot papers, then it's going to still, even if we continue this way, we'll have problem in future.
Okay. Well, just before we exit this question of integrity, last week there was a story in the Daily Nation that puts questions of integrity on you as the chairperson and linking you to Bungoma Senator Moses Wetangula. And a direct question, both of you have rubbished it as saying that you're both Bukusus and come from Bungoma. But a direct question is, have you ever been to Wetangula's home?
His home? Where?
Yes. In Nairobi or in Bungoma?
Well, I've not been to Wetangula's home. But I don't think then that issue, I look at it as profiling myself, and this seems to be an ongoing thing. There's a deliberate move to profile staff of IBC, commissioners, staff, and there's a serious social campaign ongoing, and it's actually very sad that at this point in time then you have people who are hell-bent on trying to profile commissioners, staff, so for purposes which we don't understand. So I think it's unfortunate, and I think it's an issue then that people who are behind it need to stop.
So these are just basically detractors who want to derail your pursuit of a free and fair election.
Let me put it this way. If you look at even our staff in the commission, especially ICT and election, they are now frightened because of so many, you see in this, most of the media, I mean the press, the gutter press you see their photos on all of these gutter presses, social media posts.
Okay.
And it's coming at this time.